Yo, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. That works.
So, I always wanted to be brought up to a keyboard version of a Final Countdown. Thank you. Make dreams come true, Captain. You make dreams come true, man. Oh, my dad's so cool. Oh my god. And then I got older and realized that that's how drunk people speak. Guys, that's it. One day I was at home, I was like, oh my god, he's not cool, he's just coping. I get it.
All right, we back. The Bronx Weekly Show. We do it every week. Feature different comedians, artists, all over the country, but mainly in New York City. And this week we got a couple people that are definitely like in their footprint in the New York City comedy scene, and they do different productions and projects, and I'm glad to be able to work with them. And they're both from different places. We got my brother Jaron Young from
Yo, what up?
Philadelphia. Shout him out, make noise, everybody. Then we got Kate Robars from Texas. So
Oh wow.
yeah, we got that. And I'm from Oregon. This is the Bronx Weekly. This is the United States Weekly Show right now. And I want to thank y'all for taking your time out on a Christmas Eve and let me get to know you guys a little bit and let these other people get to know you, and so maybe they can follow you if they like what the hell you talking about. So what's going on, y'all? It's Christmas Eve. What's good?
Nothing, man. I'm hanging at my girlfriend's family's house for Christmas. Because I couldn't go home to Philly because train ride, COVID.
Yeah.
You don't wanna mix those. So I'm chilling. Yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm a little tipsy.
Yo,
So
I thought it was something. I was like, you just came in the room like, hey, I said, oh yeah, this is different. Ron is usually so like, hey, everything's cool. But
I have also been drinking, and I'm at home in my tiny apartment, and my mom won't stop bothering me because she wants me to make pralines. And I went to 4 different stores because you have to get Cairo syrup, and you have to, which is like corn syrup, and it's
yeah,
like these stores don't have it. And then I went to this fancy grocery store, and I needed a pound of sugar, but they only had the small things of sugar. And I was just like, New York is not like the South. Like, you can't get this garbage food that I need to make any of the traditional foods that we eat. Like, I
hell
need
no. New York is
Velveeta
healthy.
queso. It was so
exactly.
my mom's been bothering me. I'm glad you gave me an excuse to say, Mom, I can't bake right now. I have to do the Bronx show. She said, what?
Oh,
You
that's
gotta do
dope.
what?
That's dope.
Yeah.
Use us. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
man. First let's talk a little bit about how you guys got started with comedy. So,
Mm,
which one of y'all want to tell me first how long you been doing comedy and where you started it at?
mm. I've been doing comedy for like 7 years. Um, but I didn't. It's always weird, right? I feel like it's like a common thing amongst like comics to be like, I've been doing it for 7 years, but the first 2 years I didn't really do it like that, right? Like that's like a very common thing. Like a lot of comics like give like that caveat
They
because
always
it's
say
like,
that,
like I've been doing it for 7 years, but don't expect 7 years skill level. Like I'm like,
right?
you know what I mean? But yeah, I've been doing it 7 years. And the first 2 years I didn't like pursue it that much. And then after a little while I was like, oh, I'm like actually good at this. So I think maybe like 6.5 years ago, or no, not six, like 5.5 years ago or 5 years ago, I was like, all right, let me like take it seriously and like get up as much as they say you should get up and write as much as like as I can or as I'm
Yeah,
supposed to.
right.
Yeah, so it's been like it's been around 7 years, but like 5 years like consistently doing it. This year don't count either, so I'm gonna say 7 years after this. This year don't count because
Yeah,
it's been
yeah. I'm
mostly
8 years. I'm 8 years.
enough.
Go ahead, Kate. Talk to
Well,
me.
So I started in theater, and I'm a playwright, and I would do solo shows.
Mm,
And so like 7 years ago, I started doing solo shows because I moved to China. And so it was about like my hometown, Orange, Texas versus China, because I'm from this really small place. And then I went to the like this place with 23 million people that makes New York look small. And
mhm,
it was like a fish out of water story. But and now I think of it, I know I did racist Asian accents because I had this Asian character who's like, hello. And I'm like, oh, I would never do that. Like I was a little kid then. I'm like, I would never do that now. But it was like I transitioned because when I moved to New York, I went to school in California. Then I moved to New York, and I was like so fascinated because there's not that like solo performance community here to the degree that there is stand up. And I just feel like I'm being from a small town, you find your community anywhere. And it's like, going to shows, you meet people who are into the like writing,
Yeah.
into like making people laugh, enjoy. And it's funny because my family, they're like, you're the least funny person we know. And in the South, I feel like everybody's everybody thinks they're a comedian. They're
mhm.
like, people, I can't believe people think you're funny. I'm like, I hate y'all.
Nah, that's how people are.
I
People, that's
know.
family. That's family. They be like, oh man,
So
I'm
Mhm.
funnier than you. You be like,
right. But
I
so I
know,
guess
but
I've been doing stand up just for like 3.5 years. But I've been doing my solo shows that were 75 minutes that had jokes in them, but I also made people cry because I would try to like hit them with like a dramatic monologue, more of an arc. And it's so much more challenging to just hit punch, punch, punch because you're condensing that and it can still feel that weight, behind it of that pain, but it's just tighter.
Mhm.
so Jaron, both of you guys have done production, and like, how do you feel about like being a producer in New York City and being a comic? Does it hurt you or help you?
Mm. I feel like, I mean, for me, I feel like it helps because I never consider like I run shows with like four other people, which is helpful. I can't get this camera right. I run shows with like four other people, which is really helpful. Um, there we go. With four other people, which is really helpful. And so it's not just all on me to produce stuff or get stuff right. Uh, and that was kind of the reason why we run it with so many other people is so that we can make sure that we're comics first. Like we're not like trying to be, why is this not working? We're trying to be like comics first and we're trying to make it so that we have enough time to write and get up on stage and we're not just beholden to like running a dope show. So there's five of us, so we could run a dope show. But then also like if I have to get up somewhere else, the show that me and Stewie run together, we're like, okay, like I have to get up. Can you host? And I'll go up first, and then I can run to this other spot.
Yeah,
So it helps that way, and we kind of help nurture each other's growth in that way.
that's
Um,
fire.
yeah,
What
by
about you?
myself, I don't think I'd be able to do it, but
Well,
with
I think
with other people, it's dope.
Yeah,
Jaron just hit upon something that I really appreciate because it's like being a producer. I know so many people, and I'm not throwing shade, but like so many people who get caught up in the production because it takes so much time. It's like you're booking, you're coordinating with the venue, you're making sure you get seats, people in the seats, and you can get lost in doing that. But that's not the work. That's like the work to get to the work, but the work is the artistry, and the work is the writing, and the work is the stage time and the performing. And it's like for me, producing is a means to an end because it gives me the opportunity to give voices to people I want to see, to put on my friends,
Hmm.
to put on comics that I think are underrated, or even it's been fun producing because it's like I'm getting big fish to come, like, Janelle Jane, like people who you would never think that they would ever do a show with, you will. And that's been so exciting to me in New York is that people will see these, in my hometown, they're like, oh my gosh, you did a show with this person. And it's like, all you have to do is ask. That's the golden
Hmm.
ticket. But also make sure you're throwing a great show. You're, providing that, energy, love, good vibes, and like laughter. But yeah, making sure you're also still that's not your only platform because then it gets to where people are just producing, they're just doing their shows.
yeah,
So that balance is super important, I think.
exactly. So, what have you done over this pandemic to kind of, because nobody is working as much as we were working back when it was fruitful. This time last year, shit was crazy. Okay.
Hmm.
But we've all had to kind of like find different avenues, different lanes to, to keep doing something productive, what have you guys done to stay and relevant?
I feel like I've been doing a lot of just like kind of like picking stuff up. And then like when I get bored with it, just being like, all right, I'm done with it for a little while, which is not, it's nice to be kind of like non-committal with things sometimes, right? Like for instance, I also started like as an actor. That's like why I moved to New York originally. So I was like, well, since I never have time to take acting classes, so let me just, while this is going on, I'll just take classes over Zoom. So found my old teacher again, just started taking classes over Zoom for like 4 months. We were getting those good unemployment checks. I was like, let me invest in myself. So I was taking classes over Zoom for yeah, like 4 months, and it was cool. I got to rediscover a side of myself that I wasn't able to work on because comedy is such a grind, and
Right.
I was afraid of falling behind if I took this time to like work on myself as an actor. And I remembered that, oh yeah, I really like that. And then also just like trying to work on promotional material, like I'm like, oh, I've had this idea for a pilot for a long time. Let me start trying to write it and figuring it out. And um just little things like that. And also just trying to figure out like, like, all right, let me get like my meditation practice back down. Let me like start running, like just things to work on that like I didn't work on. I'm not doing this stuff every day. Some days I'm like, yo, everything is sad and I just want to sit down in front of my TV and watch anime for 3 hours, so it's not like it's been perfect. It's been very off and on. But I've been picking things up and like putting them down when I don't feel like it and picking stuff up again. So
Yeah.
it's been nice. It's been like a little bit productive.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's what you got to do. You got to figure it out. Go
And
ahead.
letting
Hmm.
things speak to you, like it's like, don't push yourself. Cause I found myself in that same rigidity where I was just like, show. And I keep feeling like inertia has set in because it's like an object, kinetic energy and object in motion stays in motion, no moss grows on a rolling stone. And I just feel like things
Hmm.
came to a stop. And at first I was kind of shocked and I was like, because that was my whole creative model. You get an immediate reaction from an audience. But I'm a writer first and foremost. So I really was like, I'm going to go down to writing. You see all these books. These are my family members that I don't fight with. They're my favorite people in the world and they're, books. But, I know so many people through those books that I've never even met on the other side of the world. So I guess I'm like, that's something tangible that I don't need anybody else for is writing. I'm working on a book. But then I also started doing these dumb little sketches, but I'm taking them really seriously because I want to do a bigger film. So it's like, and Kenny and I are going to shoot one soon. But prior to this, even Kenny had his writing group, and we would all get together and do a writing group session. And so many great things were born out of that. So actually, some of these sketches were stuff that I had originally written from that writing group, from different prompts that we would have. And it's just like kind of going back to what you were saying, going back to stuff that you'd done before,
Yeah.
revisiting it. And then also sometimes you hit a wall and you're just like, I can't, like, it's not productive. And being nice to yourself, that's like,
Hmm.
We're gonna go to a clip and check out how you feel about.
When I married Rich, my big brother Logan said, my little sister Katie got the best hustle ever. He said that at my wedding. That was my brother's an alcoholic. He used to be a crackhead though, so we will take. He heard that and he said, Katie, it wasn't crack, it was meth. But in addition to being a comic, I'm an actress in New York City with a little bit of a Texas accent. Y'all know I've been asked to play a crackhead. And I was on set for an indie movie, and the director was like, we need you to take off your clothes. I was like, I've seen crackheads wear clothes. You can't trick me. And the prop master was like, we forgot a crack pipe. I said, ma'am, calm down. You can use that light bulb. I got a credit as an actor and a drug consultant. Thanks, bro, helping me beef up that IMDb. When I married Rich, my big brother Logan said, my little...
Yeah, that right there. That's a good family right there, right?
It's so funny. My brother, I mean, I've added more tags onto that, but he actually was messaging me some crazy story today. And then out of nowhere, he was at the Verizon store. He said, I think they stole my money. It was so crazy. My brother is still, he said, I paid them 150 in cash and it's not credited to my account. This guy stole my money. He said, I'm going to call the cops, but that means I'm going to go to jail because I have warrants. I was like, I said, please not on Christmas. Like, let me give you the 150 and let that man steal it. He said, no, it's the principal. I was like, even crackheads have principles. Yes, like, you know, people cannot do. He said that pull the tape.
He going to jail Christmas
He
Eve.
was like, he said they need to look at the
Because
tapes.
that dude stole money from me.
I'm like, that he has principles. Even it's just the shenanigans. In a way, I'm like glad I can't travel to Texas right now.
But we got a clip of Jaron as well, and here it is right here. This is what's so cool about shows like this. My tech, we were smoking earlier. My tech. We gotta have a toast too.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, we have a toast after this, the stand up.
I'll get my wine ready.
Uh-oh.
I'm drinking the whiskey.
Oh, you on the whiskey? Maybe
Oh my God, he's not cool. He's just COVID. I get it.
What happened? We're gonna get it right.
It's all good, man.
Like you
What are
guys
you
are
drinking, Ken?
great interviewees. It's almost like I sent you guys the questions first already. Uh-oh. There we go.
That's dope. I always wanted to be brought up to a keyboard version of the Final Countdown. Thank you. Make dreams come true, okay? You make dreams come true, man. Thank you guys for being here. Give it up. This show is fucking amazing, man. I had a birthday recently. I'm realizing now, as I get like a little bit older, that as you get older, your perception of what's cool starts to change, right? Like when I was a kid, I thought my dad was the coolest person in the world because he spoke like a jazz musician. Like he would single me out when he picked me up from school. He'd look at me and be like, "Hey man, how's it going? How's everything? Yeah, you doing good? Yeah, that's my son. You get good grades in school. Guess what? Grades don't matter if you're cool, baby. How about my fucking dad?" And I look at all the other kids, I'm like, oh, my dad's so cool. Oh my God. And then I got older and realized that's just how drunk people speak, guys. That's it. One day I was at home, I was like, oh my God, he's not cool. He's just COVID. I get it.
There it goes. That's one of the we used to have this open mic called the Duck on 112th and Second, something like that. And I remember Jaron used to come there, you know, hosted for me a couple times and all that. And he was working on all that stuff when he was with that Duck. That was the Duck.
Yeah.
That stuff was funny though, bro.
Yeah. I don't do that many jokes about my dad, man, because I feel like other than that joke, every other joke I've tried about my dad is sad.
It just depends on the crowd, man. If you go to one of those shows and all those white dudes talking about theyself and self-deprecating, you can talk so bad about your dad and they're gonna be like, man, I understand.
Yeah. I just like it gets like I feel like the more layers I unravel with them or unfurl with them, it just gets the darker and darker it gets. I feel like because I think when I wrote that, I was like I think that was like a long time ago. That might have been like 4 years ago. I think when I wrote that, I was like way less funny than I am now. So I probably would like to like try to figure out like see how much deeper I could go now. Cause now it also has more layers in me too. Cause I've seen him at more points now than I had then. I think then I hadn't seen him like in years, and now I've seen him like, like a little while ago. So it
Yeah.
would be interesting to try to re explore that.
No, you could definitely do that, man. That was funny. That
Yeah.
was raw. That was when you was young. You didn't know what the hell
Yeah.
you was, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I saw so many comics and we was doing that every week, everybody was coming
Hmm.
back. I was like, that dude is funny. He's funny. He's gonna be funny. And some dudes that weren't funny at first got funny,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's the dope thing about like comedy. And so I don't know. So how long do you guys think this whole situation is going to go on before we start getting back to some type of normalcy where we get back inside? Just throw it out there, just a guesstimation, and then
June.
we'll toast after this.
June is my guess.
Because I used to watch The Price is Right, I know you get disqualified if you go over on the guess. So I'm gonna guess like May.
You going dollar under me?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing August, just because I think like after the summer it'll be like that's it. It'll be a hot summer, and we'll forget about it.
Hmm.
So on that note,
Hell yeah.
a toast to you guys coming, giving me a little bit of your time. I mean,
Hell yeah, man.
hey, it's Christmas Eve. We don't even have to make this crazy long. I just wanted, connect with y'all, get your story, and we got about another 8 minutes. So before you start giving me all your, how we can follow you, I got one last question. But let's toast right now to you guys, and much success. Keep going. You guys both been doing dope stuff. So hopefully we can get a couple dope stuff stories after this. Toast.
To success for all of us.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
All right. So Jaron, you were in the New York comedy competition 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Did quite well. How was that a part of your confidence level as far as comedy in the comedy scene?
Man, I feel like I came to this from acting. So like I feel like as somebody who's an actor, or who is an actor first, I always feel for a long time I felt subconscious that like I wasn't like, even though like when I was a kid, I really loved comedy and I wanted to do it, but it's hard to imagine yourself actually doing comedy because you don't know anybody who does it, right? So you're like, how the hell do I do that? But like I came to this from acting, and like I think I'd never see myself as like a comic. Like when I'm around comics, it's like, oh, this is like weird. Like it's weird that I'm like an actor around comics. Like I can blend in, but I'm not like one of them. And I feel like that was one of the first times that, and I did Trial by Laughter, and both of them I made it to the finals, and that was like just confirmation for me to be like, yo, like, why do you care what the perception is around like what you were before, whatever? Like you're good, and you love doing this, so you belong here.
Right.
Like that was like a thing I struggled with for a long time, was belonging, and I feel like that helped me a lot to be like,
Right.
yo, you belong here. Like you're good. Like relax.
Exactly.
Like you don't have to overthink this.
It's true. It's something that happens. It's something that happens that makes you be like, fuck all this shit. All right, I'm on. I'm good. Go ahead, Kate. I know you got something.
Well, I just love, because it's like what you just got to eventually is kind of how I reject labels. Like labels, I think, are so toxic for all of us. And it's like, because as a writer, as an actor, my whole life, I remember in school, people were like, you need to focus on one thing. You need to either be a writer, you need to be an actor, you need to do, what, and I was like, but I'm not. And so I started saying like, I'm an artist and I have a lot of different weapons. one can be like my mouth performing, one can be the written word, but they're all in my arsenal as an artist, because I had that same thing where I was like, I was like, am I a stand-up? Am I a comedian? Because I'm like, no, I'm an artist, and all of those things fall in line after it. And the other thing that I've learned, especially in stand-up, is that people think that it's like a rite of passage, which in many ways everything can be. And I think there's definitely, you know, you have to put in your work, but it's also a lot of luck. And I've seen so many talented people go undiscovered, and I've seen so many people who I don't think are necessarily very special just blow up. And that's what it's like. Luck is not anything I can control. And those labels, like, you know, you've seen people who've not done it for very long. So that's like the time thing. I've seen people just blow up. So it's like rejecting those labels and saying, this is what I'm choosing to do. Nobody's making me go out to these shows at midnight. I was telling Kenny, he said, you're going to make me cry, because I said last year we were at the Pear at midnight, and it was like, you know, I spent New Year's with my comedy family, and it was a really special, I went to my church, Middle Collegiate, and then I went to, you know, the show. And it's like, I miss everybody, but like at the end of the day, we're all vulnerable up on that stage alone. Nobody else is with you. And it's like, nobody's going to tell you you're a comedian or tell you you're good. It's like, good. What is that? That's not for us to decide. That is, it's subjective. Everybody has their own opinion of what's good, but you're doing that. And so it's like claiming whatever you want to be, rejecting those labels. And like in that moment, we are all stand-up comedians.
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, let's think about your situations, and it's like, okay, wait a minute. You're from wherever you're from. You're in New York City, right? And you're in the mix. You doing shows at the Stand. That was where your clip was from. You know, your clip was from what? Where was that?
It was somewhere in Brooklyn.
Well,
But
you do shows everywhere.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
You do shows in New York Comedy Club. You do shows,
yeah.
right? So you're here, you're doing stuff. This is the time that we're in right now. And like, we know all the people, but you know, people would never realize that how intertwined you are in the like comedy community. You know what I mean? Like producers as well. That even makes you even more. So people are inboxing you that you want to be on their show. They're inboxing you like they want to be on your show. You know what I mean? It's so, but it's part of the game. And then so that makes you be like, I gotta be on point, because I don't want them to feel like they're just changing spots or whatever. I want them to put me on the show because I'm funny. And so it's a you got to keep writing, you got to stay on stage. That's why I can't wait until this is over so we can get back on stage, you know, every night 3 or 4 times. That's New York City, you know. So it's Christmas Eve. I ain't gonna try to keep y'all on here too long. How can people follow you on social media? Because they're gonna love you guys. This is a good, quick, it's passionate. Talk about it. How can they follow you?
So I'm not on Twitter like that, but I'm on Instagram often enough. I'm at Jaron Lee, JARONLY 1988.
And I'm if you look down here where my finger's pointing, I went ahead and added my at in the so go ahead and hit that hit that follow. Go ahead and hit that. Like they want to know my name, they want to know my handle. That's me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find me on all platforms. YouTube, at Kate Robards, all of it.
Listen. This is so dope, because I know they got other shit they got to do. He can't wait to go in there with the family and probably, I don't know, fart and walk away and make it seem like it was somebody else. This family, you know what I mean?
My church is calling.
Exactly. Oh yeah, if you're trying to go to church, I'm trying to watch the game. You can follow me at _the_average_black_man on Instagram. This is the Bronx Weekly. That's Jaron Young and Kate Robards. Thank y'all. We out.
Merry Christmas.
Hell yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Nice meeting you, Kate.